Doug MPA back with another video. So guys, this is going to be adding to my men and women in the workplace series. I know a lot of you guys really like that those videos on my channel. And I found this article called 5 Ways Your Female Employees Positively Impact Your Culture and Morale. And of course, this is framed like having to tell men the 5 ways female employees impact your culture and morale. If you read this whole article, that's how it's framed. So we're going to look at these 5 ways. And while we're going through this, I want you to look at this through the eyes of an executive or a business owner whose goal is to make money. Because if your organization isn't making money, there will be no company, there will be no business. Before I do that, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. It shows you support me and what I'm doing over here. And let's get into this. So this is March 15th of 2022. On the heel of International Women's Day, it feels appropriate to spend some time highlighting the achievements of female employees, notably their contributions in the workplace. These go far beyond feminine touches and traits and have a lot more to do with effective leadership skills such as assertiveness, empathy, and flexibility. Let's start giving credit where credit is due. Women are making huge gains in the workforce, and even as the gender pay gap persists, guys, you knew it was coming. You knew it, of course. That pesky, awful gender pay gap that we know does not exist. And like I always say on my channel, the pay gap has been debunked 1,000 times. But just like in the MCU, what do the Hydra agents say? When you chop off one of our heads, 2 pop up in its place. That's the gender pay gap. No matter how many times it gets debunked, there are just more and more people using it as a talking point, and more pseudo studies and stuff that come in its place. Anyway, here we will look at 5 ways that female employees are positively impacting culture and morale in your company. Does it say profit margins and bottom line? Of course not. Let's get into this. Supportive of professional development. A recent study showed that people with female bosses reported their bosses were more supportive of their career development compared to people with male bosses. Moreover, while having a female boss is unlikely to limit men's career development, having a male boss might hinder women's career development. You've heard the phrase, empowered women empower women. But female leaders are more likely to empower their employees regardless of gender. That is patently false. As I've done videos on my channel that show that almost 50% of women would rather work for a male boss than a female boss because of that. This is a real thing, guys. Queen bee syndrome. A lot of women will rise up the ranks and then intentionally make life harder for women coming up. Women get catty with other women. And hey, guys, men are more likely to have a positive experience with a female boss than a woman. This is the grim reality. And it's funny because that study that showed that 50% of women would rather have a male boss, these same women, they want more female leadership, but they want those females to be over men, not women. Funny how that is. It says empathy advantage. I don't even have to read this one and say that this isn't true. Women have empathy for themselves and children, but not for men. Having an empathetic nature gives women an advantage when influencing culture and the workplace. Female leaders are more likely to ensure manageable workloads for their teams, provide emotional support, and check in on overall well-being, proving that vulnerability can be a superpower. Similarly, women are great communicators. We know that's not true, and express themselves more eloquently than men. Why are there so many articles about how complicated women are? They always say that men need to be able to speak women's language better, but you never see articles about women having to speak men's language better. Women are these complicated beings, women are Geminis and Libras and have all this trauma and have to be understood delicately. No, you don't see this about men. So this is a patent lie. Having an open communication style promotes problem-solving skills and fosters a culture of collaboration. As strides begin to take shape for women in the workplace, what could have previously been seen as a surprise is that women who express their emotions are perceived as more effective leaders than men. Once again, men We express ourselves succinctly, directly. We're not afraid to give most people direct criticism, and we will outline how your behavior is not contributing to the bottom line of the company. That is the difference between men and women. Team building skills. Research has shown that men in teams with a balanced female presence had more positive experiences than they did in teams with a majority of men. But the problem is, who gets to determine what a balanced female presence is? That is the problem. This is completely subjective, guys. One explanation is that women tend to be more relationship oriented than men and are more likely to stress collaborations and inclusion of all team members. And that can be at their detriment because women try to avoid hierarchies and have this collaborative decision-making process model. There are times where a leader has to be designated and their orders have to be followed, and a lot of women have a problem with that. In today's workplace, gender diversity, we knew this was coming too, is important, and teams with a high representation of women in top management can have a positive impact on organizational success. Promoting the work-life balance. With empathy being such a strong character trait of women in the workplace, I would argue that not in 2023, it's not. Empathy? Nope. It feels logical that female employees are champions for encouraging the work-life balance and supporting job flexibility. And that's because men work longer hours and their goal is to make money to provide for their families. Women's first goal is, workplace flexibility, time off, diversity, equity, and inclusion, all this stuff that doesn't contribute to the bottom line of organizations. So of course they're going to push all this stuff. Working women have been required to juggle their careers with motherhood for decades, and the cough has exacerbated the urgency to find the right balance. The desire for females in leadership positions to have a healthy relationship between their home and work lives has helped to cultivate a culture of flexibility for women on each rung of the ladder. And that's because women don't value what men do. Women don't work the long hours. Women don't take the risks. Men do. Diversity advocates. We saw this coming too, guys. Female leaders are more likely than men to educate themselves about the challenges that women of color face at work, speaking out against discrimination, and mentor or sponsor women of color. Compared with men at their level, women leaders are up to twice as likely to spend substantial time on supporting employee resource groups, organizing events, and recruiting employees from underrepresented groups. And the problem is, this is all extra stuff. No one's telling them to do this. I did an article. I covered an article on my channel about the extra work that women do that they don't get credit for. And all of it was stuff like this. Men don't do it because they know they're not going to get credit for it. Why am I going to spend my time, my paid time, doing stuff that's not going to help me get up the ladder? Why so many women do this stuff, see it as necessary, and then complain about it later is beyond me. Ladies, stop doing this stuff. Don't volunteer to organize events. Don't volunteer to start resource groups. If you see the men of your organization not doing it, you shouldn't do it either. This is your own fault if you put yourself in the position to do this and all of a sudden you're not getting credit for it. Work on something, work on a new project that can better the organization's profit margin, bring more business in, make more money. How about that? They're also more likely than men to take allyship actions such as mentoring women of color, advocating for new opportunities for them, and actively confronting discrimination. They're going to have to mentor women of color and women, period, because men aren't doing it. We know what happened with the whole M2 thing. Guys, stay away from women at work. Just stay away. Go to work, stay in your cubicle. Don't even eat lunch in the lunchroom. Go to your car or go to a restaurant, eat by yourself. Stay in your cubicle. Go back to your cubicle. work, and then go home. No happy hours. No, I'm to the point now, don't even go to the Christmas party, guys. No potlucks, none of that. Say no. You have to protect yourself. And we all know why. So what do we think about these 5 reasons here? All this is most of this is patently false. And then this last one is saying, oh yeah, women influence the culture and morale of organizations for doing stuff that doesn't really matter in the long run. Resource groups, organizing events. Come on, man. Really? Let me know what you think about this in the comments. And this is also saying that that men don't do any of this stuff. Men don't do it as often because we want to make money. But you mean to tell me that there aren't men that aren't empathetic at work or have team building skills or promote work life balance? Or I mean, I would hate for a man to be a diversity advocate, but they're out there, I'm sure, acting like men are just incapable, incompetent. No. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.